Okay, so this section is all about how are you going to um, look at your business from perhaps a new perspective, given how things are going today in today's world. And we're going to give you a couple of tools, and we're going to give you some different ways of looking at how you look at your business. Okay, so first, I wanted to briefly mention, excuse me, I wanted to briefly mention that we define shifting your business model into three categories, from a minor shift to a major shift. Focus is a minor shift, and that's basically taking, I'm making it up. Let's say you have 10 different or 5 different products or services. And you know what? Out of those 5 that I have, 4 are really not doing much because of COVID, but this one is doing really well. So you're going to focus on that one and build that up. A lot of you have been doing that already, but that's one of the shifts. A balance shift is, you know what, I need to put some resources of time and money into this one area of the business that I think is going to do well. And so you invest and put time and money into it. And the pivot is a major shift in your business model where, hey, I've been doing X, I now need to do Y, otherwise I'm going under, baby, that kind of thing. Some examples would be a focus shift is that's basically where you've got a cleaning product that's a customer that's doing really well, like a hospital or something, and all the other ones are not doing well. And you're going to focus your resources on those hospitals that are already your clients. A balance is, and we've all been to them, you go to a cafe, and instead of being able to sit inside, you got to now sit outside. Well, the coffee shop knows that. And so they put these sheds up and electrical lights. Some of them put up electrical heating units and chairs and tables and blah, blah, blah. But that costs some time and money to do that. So that's a balance. And pivot is, hey, we used to do X, like there's a company out on the East End that was doing data support systems for assistance for data centers. And they said, oh shit, because of COVID, we got to start cleaning these places. And so they retooled and revamped. And so same customers, but they now are doing things in a different way. And those are the 3 different types of shifts that we're talking about. Now with you, we want you to look at that and use this tool. This is a tool that that pretty much describes all businesses, and these 8 elements in the Gearbox are elements to your business. Not all of them need them, but some of them do. So some people, one that's really big these days are partnerships and resources, which is the bottom gear. You might need to change your customer mix. You might need to change how you market to them. You might need to do, I don't know, change, you know what, I've got to focus on the perceived value. So revenue is going to change dramatically for me or so on. So the Gearbox is designed to help you figure out whatever, it's a tool to help you figure out, hey, these are the roadblocks I have. Which of these gears do I need to change or adjust or pivot to accommodate or deal with that roadblock that I'm having? And like we were saying in John's breakout, some of you guys are going to have to look at your business as if it's a startup. So so that's looking at it perhaps with a fresh new lens or perspective on how to do things. So you have your existing business, but you got your new business. And some of you considering, well, I'm not sure I should do that, but you know what, let me try and see. Well, that's what we want you to do. And that's what this workshop is all about, is to help you figure out, oh, okay, I guess I am going to try my new business. I'm going to test it out. And we're going to give you tools and ways and strategies on how to do that in a moment. But for now, as a startup, you're going to look at that as if, hey, man, I'm starting from scratch. I might have customers already, or I might have some resources already, but basically it's a startup. How am I going to deal with this? And that's what we want you to do. So what does a startup look like? It's going to be, things like what kind of, we all know how startups go, but, different types of thinking, or, hey, you know what, I got to test something out to make sure it works before I get going on it, or whatever it ends up being. Or sometimes with you guys, and one of the reasons why this is so hot these days is, as a startup, we need validation. And that's the last thing on this, at the bottom of your screen there, the partnerships. So, hey, like for Shift Group, our company, we needed to show that we actually know what the hell we're talking about. So we partnered up with Bank of America, and we partnered up with Stony Brook University, because they already have a following and a listening, if you will, from their customer base. And it adds a serious amount of credibility to what we're doing, because if they're vouching for us, other people will vouch for us. So partnerships is a big one, certainly for most businesses. Okay, so the reason why we're kind of flipping through these slides relatively quickly before we go back into the breakouts is because I think the real value is in the breakouts, where we all jump in and help Susie Q with Susie Q's issue. And all of us are really, really smart and experienced, and we can all help her out of whatever is in her way. Sometimes it's a lot easier for you to see, oh, this is Susie Q's issue, than it is to see what is your own issue, if you will. And that's a roadblock, what we call. So, but roadblocks, before we go back, we're going to be referring to the Gearbox and the roadblocks a lot in today's workshop with you. A roadblock, again, is anything that's getting in the way of where you want to take your baby. And the first thing, and so the Gearbox is a tool to deal with those roadblocks. Do you need to shift your customers? Do you need to shift your operations, deliveries, and partners, and so on? So we're going to be jumping between those two, starting with this one. And so this is the Gearbox, and we sent you this, so you should have this in a printable format if you haven't printed it out already. But it's designed for you to be able to say, you know what, and you don't have to change all of these. A lot of these things might be totally fine for you, but you may need to say, hey, for my startup, I need to really ramp up. I'm going to pick partnerships and say, I really need to ramp up my partnerships right now to add validity and credibility to what I'm already doing. Or, hey, you know what? My old customers were this, or my current customers are this, but for my new startup, my new customers are going to be blah, blah, blah. And you just fill that piece out. But your operations might be the same, or your delivery might be very similar. My brother's company in Brooklyn, for example, went through a lot of this. He's in the Brooklyn Navy Yard, and he does about, I don't know, 10 million a year in sales. And he sells cleaning products, B2B. And he lost 80% of his business, which was the hospitality and the hospitality industry, basically. So he decided, you know what, I'm going to partner with these guys that used to make boxes that are now doing masks in the Brooklyn Navy Yard. So he partnered with them, and he now makes hand sanitizers. This year, he's having one of his best years ever, because he didn't throw away all these other things, but he decided, you know what, I got to pivot, and I got to partner. I got to work with somebody who's already doing this. And he started picking up clients all over the place. He did this, I don't know, maybe a year ago. And because of that pivot in his shift, if you will, he is now doing really well. But he had to partner with other people that had the credibility, that are doing similar but different things, that he now, because of the alliance, if you will, they now have a full solution to this whole system. Okay, so that's the Gearbox, and that's the power of it. And you're going to, again, these are the 8 moving gears in your Gearbox. Some of them you're going to need to review and change, and some are going to stay the same. All right, so I want you to spend a few minutes now to work on, okay, based on what you were saying, my roadblocks. Well, you're going to look at your roadmap, but then you're going to say, you know what, based on my roadmap, this is where I want to go. Like Tom was saying, this is where I want to go, but this is what's getting in the way. And this is what I got to do to get around that, under it, through it, whatever, that roadblock. So I'm going to toggle between these slides just to show you a little bit of what I'm talking about. So I'm going to go back up to this one. And okay, my roadblock is X. Therefore, I got to change. I'm making this up. Operations. I got to, do things differently in my business. And this is how I do it now. But for the startup, I need to change it to look like this, and so on. So you got 8 of them. Some will stay the same. Like I said, some will change. Okay, so 5 minutes now, 7 minutes now on this, and I'll give you a 1-minute warning so you know, okay, I got 1 more minute to focus on this, and then we're going to go to the next component.